10 Local News with Joanne Desmond.
Tonight, a far northern mustering company faces 59 charges of breaching air safety. Council under fire for clearing local waterways. And 5 new species of mosquito carrying Ross River virus. Good evening. The director of a far northern cattle mustering company has been fined more than $30,000 for 59 breaches of civil aviation safety standards. Prosecutors describing the case as one of the worst ever brought to court.
Mark Rawlinson-Pert pleaded guilty to 59 charges as director of Carpentaria Helicopters. He admitted to failing to conduct daily inspections of 6 separate helicopters he piloted and didn't declare flight hours. The Commonwealth argued it was among the worst case civil aviation officers had ever prosecuted. In handing down the sentence, Magistrate Ken Lynn acknowledged the personal hardship Mr Pert had faced since the removal of his pilot's licence, which forced an end to his business, but fined him $10,000 and the company another $25,000. The reality is this legislation at the end of the day is designed for safety reason and the courts have to take a severe view of that, he told the court. In running a business, Mr Pert had taken risks to make a profit. Mr Pert has been given 12 months to pay the fine. The Civil Aviation Authority did not apply to extend the suspension of his pilot's licence. Michelle Carey, 10 News.
A Peak environmental group is outraged by recent removal of mangroves from 2 local creeks. The conservation group claims the areas will now suffer serious environmental damage as a result.
Edge Hills, Lily and Saltwater Creeks have become the environmental hotspots. Kaffnick is outraged the Cairns City Council's recent clean-up will lead to serious bank erosion, silting the creeks.
The current drainage program is obviously a redundant form of cleaning Cairns creeks out. These are important habitat areas and that needs to be recognised.
But the council has hit back, claiming it's taken 3 years to get the permits, including a DPI environmental impact study and an ongoing maintenance plan.
Well, once again, Janelle, Kaffnick have got it wrong. We have got all the approvals necessary to do this. We've got EPA approvals, we've got fishery approvals, and we have carried it out to the letter of the law.
But the environmental group is not impressed, arguing the clean-up lacks research and the council should reconsider the practice.
Kaffnick argue that this sort of mangrove clearing will interfere with fish stocks and force them out of their natural habitat.
For best management, there's no need to remove mangroves and riparian vegetation from creeks. Cairns City Council needs to employ more superior engineering standards.
But council argues barramundi, prawns and crabs will thrive on the mangroves left on one bank, and the creeks had to be cleared.
We have had unprecedented flooding in this city. We haven't seen this sort of flooding for the last 20 years, and I would suggest to Kaffnick that they take some of the phone calls from people who have had their houses flooded.
Janelle Jeffrey, 10 News.
New research has uncovered 5 new mosquitoes carrying Ross River virus in far north Queensland. The discovery sparking a warning to locals to take precautions.
It was originally thought only 3 mosquitoes transmitted Ross River virus, but a new study has found another 5 carrying the disease. The research unable to confirm if the insects are able to pass the virus onto humans.
It has to be a mosquito that feeds on human beings commonly, and it has to also be a mosquito that's able to actually transmit the virus.
Dr Harley has trapped more than 60,000 mosquitoes and studied the habits of 55 people with Ross River fever and another 85 residents who've never had it. He found residents growing bromeliads around their homes are more likely to be infected, and campers are a big risk group.
That there are reservoir hosts, perhaps kangaroos and wallabies, that people come in contact with.
Measures can be taken to protect yourself against Ross River virus by burning mozzie coils, citronella candles and using insect repellent. Those who burn citronella are 3 times less likely to be infected, while burning mozzie coils decreases the risk twofold.
I think there's an important message there about people taking responsibility themselves for protecting themselves against Ross River virus.
Symptoms of Ross River fever include fatigue, joint pain and swelling. There's evidence to suggest the virus may persist 5 weeks after the onset of symptoms by surviving in white blood cells in the joints. Michelle Carey, 10 News.
Queensland's rail link to the north has been reopened after Sunday's freight train derailment near the Burdekin Bridge. Around 500 metres of damaged track was repaired by about 11 o'clock last night. Passengers due to board the Queenslander in Cairns this morning were bused to Townsville so the train could leave as scheduled. Breakdown gangs are still retrieving the derailed wagons. QR hoping to have all of them removed by tomorrow. Investigations into the cause are continuing. Gordon Vale business people and residents have gathered in support of a plan to put the town back on its feet. With trouble at the mill, banks pulling out and shops shutting up, they say the time to act is now.
Like many country towns across Australia, Gordon Vale boasts a proud history. The past decade hasn't been kind to the cane town. Shops closing, the mill in trouble and plenty of empty spaces where thriving businesses used to be. But despite that, the town is fighting back. Locals, business people, politicians and academics gathered today to stop the rot and return Gordon Vale to a thriving regional centre.
We've had the caravan park go, we've had the bank closed, the downturn in the industry, the sugar industry. So yeah, there is a feeling that people have said, right, it's time for us to do something about it.
The plan is to invest time and funds into finding new ways of marketing the area, taking it out of Cairns' shadow and giving people a reason to visit. Member for Mulgrave Warren Pitt believes there's plenty to attract people, calling the Mulgrave River region the byway to the north, south and tableland.
Gordon Vale's history and its actual location are big pluses for it. It's a magic little historical sugar town. That aspect can be promoted. It's not far from the major city of Cairns.
The Chamber of Commerce, Cairns City Council, State Government and James Cook University will work in partnership on the project. And while the direction for the concept is still up in the air, those involved believe the worst for Gordon Vale could soon be over.
There is a big future for Gordon Vale, obviously. There's a lot of confidence in the town. We've got a booming or an upgrading in the sugar industry next year.
Jamie Rule, 10 News.
Architects have finally revealed the future of the Cairns City Heart. Planners using the launch of Art Week to explain how local artists will play a key role in the redevelopment.
The opportunity exists to extend the footpath area on street corners to approximately 12 metres.
At last, a glimpse of the Cairns City Heart of the future. The $20 million project is still to be given final approval, but water themes, more native plants and art feature strongly in the designs. Local artists commissioned to help bring Cairns back to life.
But certainly there's a lack of public art in the streets of Cairns. It's starting to change a little bit with projects like the City Library, and certainly this project is another opportunity to change that situation.
The project has been on the drawing boards for years, interrupted by budget problems, hot debate and cyclones. But now the extension of Shields Street is expected to be finished within months, followed by key areas throughout the CBD.
So by next year we should be seeing a part of our city looking like the whole city will look a few years from now.
The plans are expected to be presented for final council approval next week, with work to begin soon after. Murray Cornish, 10 News.
Far North Queenslanders should be on the lookout for serious changes in the weather over coming weeks. Weather and emergency experts advising locals to keep a watchful eye out for the first storm of the season.
Over the past couple of months, rain in the region has been rare. Locals exposed to the dry, hot spell with little, if any, relief. But it's all about to change this weekend. Thunderstorm season due to start with a bang. Although the tablelands are often the worst hit, the Weather Bureau warns no one should take the transition lightly.
With any thunderstorm at all, we've always got the potential of having a severe thunderstorm with winds in excess of 40-odd knots. Some flash flooding, which is generally just localised.
SES urging locals to clean up their yards and not to underestimate the strength of the storms.
Storm damage and cyclone damage are very similar. They're caused by the same problems, wind and rain. It can be devastating.
Getting rid of loose items and trimming tree branches near houses.
If a storm comes into your area, get inside, get under cover and don't go out again until the storm is over.
Advice also to read up on the organisation's Severe Storm Action Guide.
We will see a few rogue thunderstorms from now on into the summer, and with the cyclone season coming on, people should already be starting to prepare tidy up their yards.
Janelle Jeffrey, 10 News.
Authorities are struggling to cope with an increasing number of young, unhealthy Australians contracting diabetes. A nationwide survey has been launched to research the problem, and Cairns residents are being urged to help.
Thousands more Australians are developing diabetes every day, and Queensland Health is battling to contain the disease. A lack of research on the subject has sparked a nationwide program to find out how and why the disorder is growing so fast. Cairns suburbs, Warrie and White Rock on the list of target groups.
This involves 2 blood tests to look at glucose level in their blood to see if they do have diabetes. We also do a measurement of blood pressure, an ECG, which is a check on their heart, and look at measurements of body fat.
Over 25s are the main concern, with medical authorities convinced an unhealthy diet is the major cause of the disease.
Obesity does tend to be the major contributor to diabetes. Diets that are high in fat and inactive lifestyles, which are part of our modern lifestyle, are the major contributing factors.
Diabetes sufferers face devastating consequences, many having limbs amputated due to a lack of circulation, and in some cases death. AusDiab are urging everyone who's been approached to take part in the diabetes, obesity and lifestyle study to come forward and be tested.
We hope that the information provided by the AusDiab study will allow the government to provide more effective and efficient use of health resources.
The program will run in Cairns for another week, with figures from the survey released next year. Danae Fairweather, 10 News.
After the break on 10 Local News, HMAS Cairns takes part in a major naval exercise off the Cape, and Hambledon House in desperate need of more staff. Welcome back. Hambledon Community House in Edmonton may be forced to turn away customers due to a lack of staff. Supporters are demanding Cairns City Council come up with funds to save the much-needed centre.
Cairns City Council is under fire for failing to provide funds for the Hambleton Community House. Division 2 Councillor Fran Lindsay claims the state government built the centre a year ago to accommodate a surge in the needy. But numbers are increasing at such a rate, staff are finding it impossible to cope.
But the demand now is so high on those 2 community worker and the family support worker that we really need an admin worker in the building at all times.
The centre assists 10,000 people a year from as far north as Warrie and south to Mirrawinnie, dealing with family support, crisis counselling and baby care for single mums. But at the moment, the reception area is only staffed 10 hours a week. Councillor Lindsay fears people will be turned away and left to fend for themselves if the centre is closed intermittently.
The extra people that we have going in there accessing the services will go there and the place may be closed, and you only have to go to a place that's closed 1 or 2 times and you just won't go back again.
Attempts to have funding included in their council budget have failed, and Mrs Lindsay is demanding action. A council representative refused to allow Hambledon House staff speak with Channel 10 today, threatening it would be in their best interest to say nothing. Danae Fairweather, 10 News.
21 local naval personnel are behind a major naval exercise off Darwin. The Minor War Vessel Sea Training Group coordinating 8 boats from Australia and France during the manoeuvres.
The coast off the top end resembles a scene from the game Battleships. The crews on board 8 vessels are pitting their weapons and their wits against one another to gain the upper hand in unknown and dangerous situations. It's part of the Royal Australian Navy's annual Minor War Vessels concentration period. This exercise every year testing and strengthening the skills of Navy personnel. For those involved, it means a week of intense training.
And be ready to conduct anti-aircraft firings, anti-surface firings against targets, also perhaps some boarding exercises, some search and rescue exercises.
French gunboat Glorieuse is the only foreign vessel in the fleet. The remaining 7 ships Australian patrol boats, 4 coming from Darwin, 2 from Perth and 1 from Sydney. As well as tackling each other, the well-equipped vessels face stiff opposition from above.
We've also done a gunnery direction exercise where we have a Learjet on task who pretends to be a fighter ground attack aircraft, and the ship closes up to action stations and pretends it's fighting a war.
Sonia West, 10 News.
Neighbourhood Watch coordinators are calling for more volunteers following a rise in break and enters. Volunteers are needed across the region to help police battle the crime.
The concept's been around for over 2 decades and there's concern now it may not be getting the attention it deserves. Neighbourhood Watch again in the spotlight as police look at beefing up numbers for a worthy program.
We often find that residents in certain areas do rely on a handful of people to hold the community together in the form of Neighbourhood Watch, and we would hope that all residents get behind Neighbourhood Watch.
Last weekend's break spate across the northern beaches highlights the need for an integrated community response to fighting crime. While one man attempted to detain the nimble-footed thief, he eventually got away. No one else recorded a sighting throughout the night.
An example of areas without Neighbourhood Watches is the recent 9 burglaries on Friday night, 6 at Trinity Beach and 3 at Palm Cove. Those areas do not have Neighbourhood Watch programs.
Machin's and Holloway's beaches have both carried out successful Neighbourhood Watch programs over the past decade. Anyone looking to take part in the initiative should contact Senior Constable Philip Torrey at Cairns Police. Jamie Rule, 10 News.
Sports coming up next, and the Stratford soccer tournament attracts record interest. Meantime, Victorians dominate the first leg of the Unity International. You're with 10 Local Sport. The weekend's Stratford 5000 soccer tournament has attracted record interest from far and abroad. But just as important, the tournament was a big step forward for soccer's healing process.
Nearly a month has passed since Soccer Far North decided all its teams would play in the same competition for season 2001. And on the weekend, teams from Soccer Far North competition and the Peninsula Soccer Association finally came together. And they showed up in droves. 12 teams playing off for the $3,000 first prize in the men's competition. Teams came from all the surrounding districts in the far north, as well as the local clubs, but the crowd favourites were from even further north. A team representing Papua New Guinea winning lots of fans on the way to the semi-finals. But it was in the women's draw organisers were really caught off guard. Not only was there a full complement of teams, but some nominations even had to be turned away. It's a situation foreign to the game in the far north, but one that speaks volumes for the increased interest in the sport among women. The weekend's host club Stratford had a mixed tournament. Its defending champion men's team losing its title to Mariba, but the women took the spoils, beating Leichhardt on penalties. Tim Hutchison, 10 News.
The Cairns Taipans pre-season road trip is off to a positive start with a win over the Sydney Kings last night. The Snakes dominated a side which didn't include former Cairns skipper Terry Johnson, running out comfortable 14-point winners. The Taipans play West Sydney tomorrow before heading for Melbourne and the pre-season Blitz. North skipper Brad Smith has ripped through the tableland batting order in day one of their A-grade cricket clash. He finished with figures of 7 for 65 to hold the visitors to 8 for 240 at stumps. Tableland openers Mark Emerson and Stephen Sargent put on 88 for the first wicket before the rot set in. Emerson top scoring with 53. Meanwhile, on field one, Rovers number 3 Darren Frakes took control of the game against Fretwell Park, compiling a perfectly measured innings of 151. The knock helping his team to a season high, 5 for 351. Victorian Lee Pearson is one step closer to securing a berth in the Australian Unity Masters in Mackay later this month. Victorians dominating the first leg of the satellite circuit.
Before the tournament, you would have received long odds on a Lee Pearson-Peter Luxac singles final, but it was that sort of week. Apart from the 5th-ranked Pearson, being one of the 8 seeds was a dangerous position to be in from the start. Seeds number 1, 2, 6 and 7 were all knocked out in the first round, 3, 4 and 8 in the second, and the competition was blown wide open. Coming off a tough 3-setter in his semi-final against Luke Smith, Peter Luxac showed no signs of fatigue early, often attacking the net and forcing Pearson into error, breezing through the first set 6-1. Comprehensively outplayed by his younger opponent, Pearson regained his composure for the second set and went about bridging the gap, blunting Luxac's power game with some deft touch and pinpoint returns. Pearson taking the second set 6-4. With both players fighting tooth and nail in the third and deciding set, experience would prove the telling factor. The players traded service breaks, but it was Pearson coming up with the shots when it mattered most, and Luxac couldn't answer the challenge, bowing out of his first tournament final, 5-7 in the third. Pearson capped a successful week by teaming with Steve Huss to win the doubles. The satellite circuit moves on to Townsville this week for the second round before heading to Home Hill on Monday. Tim Hutchison, 10 News.
Stay with us. Steve Price has all the weather details next, and a local band headed for country music fame.
Now, this is different, taken at Corroboree Park by Donna Baker. She didn't think much of the sunset, so she put her sunglasses over the lens of the camera, look, and then emailed it to me. Thanks, Donna. Yeah, it's different. Now, a special day for our fireys and all our rescue guys and girls with a commemorative ceremony. These blokes do a great job, especially with the season of the blows on its way, as you saw earlier. Now, on the subject of wearing the red suits, the Mossman firefighters looking for recruits. Station officer and head flame Dave Prain says that the auxiliary firefighters are vital for them naturally, and they need more. So if you've got some spare time, give them a call. They train on Tuesday nights, 6:30 to 8:30. Giving them a bit of a plug. 31 max in Cairns today, Innisfail 30, Atherton 28. And the top for our Sunshine State, we had 39 at Richmond. Now, currently out at Yarrabah, got 25 degrees on the Cillian optic chart. We've got that surface trough from about the southwest Gulf down to Richmond, Roma, down to about Coffs. Northeast of the trough, some isolated storms. Cooler conditions behind it. There's also a ridge along the coast from that high way over there near New Zealand. Now on the satellite shows the storms around the inland trough line and some cloud tied to the upper system that's out further west. Now you can also pick up some low-level cloud just along the coast if you're close enough to the telly, although I wouldn't be while I'm on it. Wait till Joe gets back on. The inland trough will throw a bit of a wobbly with the northern portion staying where it is. The southern will skip up the coast to around St Lawrence. The next high will be in the Tasman by Wednesday night. This will reinforce the ridge, so back to the fresh southeasterlies. Fine for Cairns tomorrow, light to moderate southeast to northeast winds, 30 at the top. Fine on the tablelands as well, Mareeba 31, Innisfail 29. A nice new clock, guys. Around the Great Southland, showers for Perth and Darwin. Everywhere else pretty clear. Brisbane, a fine 27. And for the yachties off Port Douglas, Cooktown to Cardwell, southeast winds at 15 knots. Cardwell to Barham, southeast to northeasterlies at around 10 to 15s, 15 to 20s on Thursday. High tide at 7:47 in Trinity Inlet, and sunrise and getting early, 5:46. And a quick good day to all our dairy farmers on the tablelands. Been having a bit of a rough trot. All the best to you guys. Happy days. Ciao, ciao.
Thanks, Steve. Well, finally tonight, local musicians took to the streets today to shoot a country music film clip. The romantic song called Our Wedding Day made a colourful spectacle at St Andrew's Church. Local performer Andrea Lees recorded the song 2 months ago after 2 years of development. The group now hoping music channels will pick up the country love song. And that's 10 local news for the 10th of October. Thanks very much for joining us. Good night.